So first, let me welcome each of you for being on the panel here, and I hope in the next 1 hour or so, the audience will be able to get the juice of all that you have done and be of create a new future for themselves. I think that's the intention. My first question is going to begin like this: the common question to the business owners, and then I'm going to come to Anshuman. Am I pronouncing it correctly, Anshuman? Right? Because I was confused. I read it out there, but I was thinking like Anshuman, and but then Bengalis have a way of pronouncing, or it is Anshuman. Okay, okay, great. So I got that spelling right. I'm always wary about Bengalis because they're so particular about their pronunciations. Right. And you're Hitesh Savla or Hirendra Savla? Hitesh Savla. So I was just wondering, either or. ठीक है थोड़ो घणो confused થઈ ગયો. Clear. So my first question is going to be to the business owners is for each of you. When you started your business, before the journey, if I were to ask your journey, what were the 3 significant points in your journey? Like from something the way you started, like Hitesh, when you started, I think your retail business started with selling the first 4 balls at 7 a.m. in the morning. You know, 4 season ball आपने उधर आजाद मैदान की लोगा, and then your retail outlet was on at 7 o'clock in the morning, and from there to 16 stores across India, and then 16 stores out of that 15 in India, 15 in Mumbai, and then of course you have another 9 franchise outlets, and growing 50 brands from those first 4 balls. So the first point I got it, and then from there to now, if you can put your journey in 3 significant points. First Hitesh ji, and then Lakshmi Chand ji, then I'll come to the second generation.
Jai Jinendra. Thank you, Mr. Victor. The first, my journey started in 82 when I was studying in HR college, and I was pursuing my business also along with my father. And being a small retail shop in Dobitalav area, we were in the sports market that time. That time sports market was almost 20 to 30 shops were around across our, means next to our store. And we were in doing FMCG product, all Colgate, toothpaste, and stationery and everything we used to sell that time. And I joined the business with my father. And 7 o'clock we used to open the shop that time. And I was studying with PC also with in HR college. We were on the same bench, PC and Hasmukh. I think Hasmukh also is there. Yeah. And we all 3 together in the same class, HR college. I'm from Gujarati medium. From GT school, I was born and brought up in Chera Bazar area. But being the passion in sports has turned my life. Because of where we used to sell in the morning, 7 o'clock we used to sell. That time क्या होता था 7 बजे हम लोग उठ के हमारी शॉप पे we used to send an inquiry for the season ball. And we don't know what is season ball. Then somebody told me कि बगल में कोई होलसेलर्स है वहाँ से लेना है आपको and you can sell. So journey started that way, and I'd gone to that wholesalers. He told me you have to come by 7:30. We start our wholesaling after 7:30. So no, 7:30 in the evening. You come by 7:30 evening, because they all were open at 11:30 to 8 o'clock. And बाद में 7:30 then I'd visited the shop. And I told him I need the season ball because I got a lot of inquiry in the morning. So he said, you know, what is the season ball? I said, no, I don't know. Then he told me that this is the season ball. This is the price at some 38 rupees, and you have to sell for 55 rupees. And that time my business was only 100, 200 rupees of business. Whole day. Whole day we used to stand from 7 to 8 in the morning, from 7 to 8 in the evening. And we hardly doing 200, 250 business. And the one season ball is 55 rupees you have to sell. So I said, okay, let me, can I buy this? So he said, क्या आपके पास पैसा है क्या? मैं बोला पैसा तो नहीं लाया हूँ, because मेरे पास इतना पैसा नहीं है अभी. He said, okay, ले जाओ, then you can give me tomorrow. And because he knows our tradition and the sports shop, so not the sports shop, it was a normal retail confectionery store. Then he gave me the 4 ball, and my journey started. The next day I just kept at the counter and immediately sold in 10-15 minutes. And immediately the same day I went for another more ball, and then slowly we had come into a sports business. That was my first tradition. Then I got a chance to go to the abroad because I was having that time passport in 86, 87. And I got an opportunity from my some parachute retailers. That time parachute retail scheme was there. Okay, if you buy some 50,000 rupees parachute, you can go abroad, Singapore, and you can buy that. So I have a dream that in abroad, Singapore, so much sports business is there. We know that sports business is there in Singapore. So I got a chance to visit Singapore, and that time I think I must tell you that Singapore is a little different advanced. That time also it was a different advance, like, not like India. But most of the stuff, all imported stuff used to come from Singapore that time. So that was the initial stage in 87, 88. And I met over there one of my very good friend, Mr. Tony over there, who was in this business since many years. And he introduced me that you should take this all sports equipment slowly from me. But I said, I don't have money. And that time the trust built. He said, आप कहाँ से आए हो? मैं बोला मैं बॉम्बे से आया हूँ. तो बोलते हैं कहाँ पे शॉप है? मैं बोला मेट्रो पे शॉप है. अच्छा ठीक है ले जाओ, बाद में पैसा भेज देना. That was the first trust. We never met, no communication, no telephone, nothing. But because of the trust, he gave me the goods, and slowly we have developed our sports business in that market. And lastly, when my son joined, the older son, at 2012, he had expanded a lot. And that was my whole story, that because of my backbone was my wife, she supported a lot. That time she supported that I used to open at 7 and we used to close at 9 o'clock. All 7 days working. But still she supported a lot. That I must not forget. Thank you so much.
Great. So there was 4 balls, then there was Tony, and then your son coming in and creating the leap or the growth. Yes, Lakshmi Chand bhai.
Hi, Jai Jinendra. Lakshmi Chand Gada, Santa Cruz Society Stores Retail Private Limited. બહુ જ નાનપણ એટલે 10-11 વર્ષની ઉંમરમાં મેં ધંધા પર બેસવાનું ચાલુ કર્યું. થેન્ક્સ ટુ માય ફાધર, વિઝનરી ફાધર. એને એમ થયું કે ભાઈ છોકરાઓને તો નાનપણથી બિઝનેસમાં પલોટવા પલોટવા જોઈએ, રાતર પડે નહીં, પલોટવા જોઈએ. 10 વર્ષ, 11, 12, 13 એસએસસી પછી પરમેનન્ટ હું દુકાનમાં આવી ગયો. દુકાનમાં આવ્યા પછી મારું એક્સપાન્શન એક દુકાનમાંથી 2 દુકાન, 2 દુકાનમાંથી દુકાનની અંદર ગ્રોસરીથી અલગ તમે શું કરી શકો ગ્રોસરીમાં? ટોયઝ, ગેમ્સ, સ્ટેશનરી, ઇમ્પોર્ટેડ ગુડ્સ. ઇમ્પોર્ટેડ ગુડ્સમાં બી જે અમારા એરિયામાં વેચાતું હોય એના કરતાં 2 સ્ટેજ ઉપરનું. એટલે ગ્રાહક માંગે અને એને માલ હાજર થઈ જાય, એના જેવું રૂડું એકે નહીં. ફાધર 91માં એક્સપાયર થયા. બધી જવાબદારી મારી પર આવી. આગળ શું કરવું, કેવી રીતે કરવું એનું પ્લાનિંગ કરતાં જેમ સાહેબે કીધું એમ કે હું સિંગાપોર ગયો, એમ હું બેંકોક ગયેલો. દેર આઈ રિયલાઇઝ કે બનિયા સ્ટોરની અંદર ધેર ઇઝ અ લિમિટેશન, તમે કેટલું કરી શકો. બટ ઇફ યુ ડુ સુપર માર્કેટ, જે એસી હોય, બારકોડેડ હોય, ઇન્વેન્ટરી મેનેજમેન્ટ તમે કરી શકો કે જેથી તમને ખબર પડે કે તમે શું કરી રહ્યા છો. સો 96માં જઈને 97માં મેં સુપર માર્કેટ ચાલુ કરી, આખી દુકાન રિનોવેટ કરી. હવે જુઓ, કોઈ બી બિઝનેસ તમે જ્યારે એને તમે ચેન્જ કરો ત્યારે કેટલી તકલીફો આવી શકે એનો તમારે પહેલાં વિચાર કરવો પડે. પણ અમે તો કૂદી પડ્યા. પહેલો 1 મહિનો સાહેબ દુકાનમાં કોઈ ગ્રાહક ના આવે, આમ દુકાન આમ બહારથી આમ જોઈ અને વયા જાય કે ભાઈ આ તો એસી થઈ ગઈ છે ને આ તો મોંઘી હશે ને વગેરે. જ્યાં 150 બ્રેડ હું 200 બ્રેડ વેચતો હતો, હું 25 બ્રેડ નહોતો વેચતો. સો આઈ સેડ ઓ માય ગોડ, આ મેં મિસ્ટેક કરી કે શું કર્યું? પણ મને મારી જાત પર, મને મારા બિઝનેસ પર, મને મારી બ્રાન્ડ પર સખત વિશ્વાસ હતો. અને 1 મહિના પછી જે ટર્નઆઉટ થયું ઇઝ અનબિલિવેબલ, જે આજે પણ સ્ટોપ નથી થયું. એના પછી અમે લોખંડવાલા સ્ટાર્ટ કરી, એના પછી વેલે પાર્લા, એના પછી અલ્ટામાઉન્ટ, એના પછી ચેમ્બુર, હમણાં 2 વર્ષ પહેલાં અમે ઓશિવરા આવ્યા. ધીસ ઇઝ અવર જર્ની. વચ્ચે એક નાનકડું એક્સિડન્ટ બી થઈ ગયેલું. સાન્ટા ક્રુઝની દુકાનમાં ફાયર થઈ ગયું એટલે થેન્ક્સ ટુ માય ફેમિલી, માય ફ્રેન્ડ્સ, માય રિલેટિવ્સ. મારી બૈરી અને હું રાતે 3 વાગે ડિવાઈડર પર ડિસાઇડ કર્યું કે નથિંગ વિલ સ્ટે. ત્યારે મીનાએ મને એટલું જ કીધું કે કોઈ ચિંતા કરવાની જરૂર નથી, બધું જ બરોબર થઈ જશે, આપણે આખું ફેમિલી જોડે છીએ. અને યુ વોન્ટ બિલીવ ઇટ, ફાયર હેઝ બર્ન આઉટ અવર શોપ બટ નોટ અવર સ્પિરિટ, એન્ડ વી કમ બેક વિધિન 3.5 months અમે દુકાન ચાલુ કરી. અને એના પછીની આ બધી જર્નીઓ છે. એટ ધેટ ટાઈમ મનન વોઝ ઓન હનીમૂન એટ ન્યુઝીલેન્ડ. હી કોલ્ડ મી કે પપ્પા શું છે આ? મેં તો નથિંગ, તું આવ પાછો પછી વાત કરશું. બટ અગેન હું ફેમિલી, હું છોકરાઓને બિઝનેસની અંદર પલોટવાની વાત એટલે કરું છું કે જો એ નાનપણથી થાય તો તમારો છોકરો 100% કાંઈ કોઈ મોટો બિઝનેસ કરશે અને કાં તમારા બિઝનેસમાં જોઈન થઈ જશે. ફાધર જેટલો ફાઉન્ડેશન જેણે ક્રિએટ કર્યું છે એની ઉપર એને ફક્ત એન્જિનિયરિંગ ઇમારત જ બનાવવાની છે. અને ફાધરને જે એક્સપિરિયન્સ છે એ છોકરાને કેવી રીતે ન આવી શકે, 100% આવી શકે. એ 2010માં મનન યુએસ ગયો. साहब विक्टर जी मेरे को ऐसा लगा कि ये तो रिटर्न नहीं आएगा, सो मैं पवई का दुकान बंद कर दिया, मैं मेरा इंपोर्ट का बंद कर दिया, मैं वाइंड अप प्रैक्टिकली सेमी वाइंड अप करना चालू कर दिया. 2013 में उसने बोला कि डैडी आई एम कमिंग बैक. मैं रो पड़ा. आई एम द लकीएस्ट फादर कि आज बेटा मेरे साथ मेरे ग्रोथ में साथ में है. और इसकी वजह क्या है? बचपन से लेके आज तक, मतलब जिस दिन पैदा हुआ करके आज 32-33 साल की उम्र है उसकी, ऐसा कोई दिन नहीं हुआ होगा जिस दिन हम गले नहीं मिले होंगे और एक पप्पी नहीं ली होगी. सी दैट इज द मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगा कि ये मेरी बड़ी, ये मैं शेयर क्यों कर रहा हूं, ताकि बचपन से अगर आप आपके संतानों को अगर आप प्यार करेंगे डेफिनेटली वो आपके साथ ही रहेगा. सो अंग्रेजी में एक 4 लाइन है, इफ यू लव समवन लेट इट बी फ्री, इफ इज कम बैक इट योर्स, अदरवाइज नेवर वॉज. તમારો હતો જ નહીં, તમે એ ભ્રમણામાં હતા. ધીસ વોઝ માય જર્ની. થેન્ક યુ.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think that's a quote from Swami. Swami Kanand also has used this quote. If it is yours, let it free. Otherwise, it never was yours. आपका पर्सनल कोचिंग लगता है स्वामी विवेकानंद डायरेक्टली कर रहे हैं?
सर स्वामी विवेकानंद नहीं, बट मेरे लाइफ में 4 लोगों का बड़ा योगदान है. वन इज माय फादर, very visionary. My bad luck, he passed away in 1991 when I was 28 running. The second is ગિરીશ ગણાત્રા, આપણે ઘણા લોકોએ એની બુકો વાંચી હશે. થર્ડ ઇઝ હરિભાઈ કોઠારી, એન્ડ ધ ફોર્થ ઇઝ સાબુદ્દીન રાઠોડ. કેરેક્ટરમાં રહીને હાસ્ય કેવી રીતે ઊભું કરવું કોઈ એની આગળથી શીખે. આઈ એમ સોરી, હું થોડો ઓફબીટ જઈ રહ્યો છું, બટ આપણા લાઈફના ફાઉન્ડેશનમાં અમુક ચીજો બહુ જ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ હોય છે. ફક્ત ધંધો ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ નથી હોતો, બાકીનું પણ આપણે ધ્યાન રાખવું પડે છે. થેન્ક યુ.
Great. Thank you so much. I don't think offbeat है, क्योंकि from the point we start in the morning where Mr. Nagesh said रिश्ता, मतलब ये रिश्ता कष्ट, अगर, and I think you're bringing that point as a successful retailer saying रिश्ता.
So फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई थैंक यू नागेश जी. उन्होंने मेरा बहुत 90% काम पूरा कर दिया, ऐसा कहूँ तो 100%, नॉट इवन 90%. एज अ ग्रोसरी बिजनेसमैन वी आर સ્ટેન્ડિંગ ઓન, આપણે કહીએ ને કે ડાયમંડની ખીણ ઉપર, રાધર ડાયમંડની જમીન ઉપર અમે ઊભા છીએ. અમારો જે ગ્રોસરીનો બિઝનેસ છે એટલો અનબિલિવેબલ છે કે જેની કોઈ લિમિટ નથી. યુ કેન સેલ વોટ એવર યુ વોન્ટ. તમે જો થોડો સ્કેલ મોટો કરી શકો અને જો તમે ઇન્સ્યોરન્સ વેચી શકો, તમે બેન્કિંગ વેચી શકો, તમે હાઉસ લોન વેચી શકો, તમે ટિકિટ વેચી શકો બહારગામ ફરવા જવાની, અને તમે પેકેજ વેચી શકો ટુરિઝમના. એટલે ધેર ઇઝ નો એન્ડ. અને બિઝનેસ માટે હું તમને કહીશ કે અત્યારે બધા જ બૂમો પાડી રહ્યા છે કે કોમ્પિટિશન છે, ગરાગી નથી, બ્લા બ્લા બ્લા. હું એમ કહીશ કે વોટ ઇઝ કોમ્પિટિશન? જો તમે તમારા ગ્રાહકને
One day, I'll come back to this competition discussion. I just want to take that journey there, and I'll come back to that point.
નો પ્રોબ્લેમ. સો આઈ હેવ ટુ સ્ટોપ રાઈટ
At
નાઉ
this
હિયર.
point of time, I'll come back to you.
શ્યોર, ઓકે.
Yes, Manan, your 3 points in your journey.
લાઈક માય ડેડ સેડ કે નાનપણથી તમે તમારા સંતાનોને, તમારા છોકરાઓને, છોકરીઓને કેવી રીતના પરવરિશ આપો છો મેટર્સ અ લોટ. હું મારા ચાઇલ્ડહુડની જ વાત કરું, સો પ્રોબેબલી 5th 6th સ્ટેન્ડર્ડથી ઘરે સ્કૂલથી હું આવતો હતો, સો ધ સ્ટોર વોઝ ઇન બિટવીન. તો 5th 6th સ્ટેન્ડર્ડમાં બી હું અગર મારા સ્કૂલથી ઘરે આવું ને દુકાને અગર કોઈ ડિલિવરીનો ઝોલો હોય તો હું ડિલિવરી કરતો જાઉં, કરતો ઘરે જાઉં. સો ઇફ યુ ટેલ ધીસ ટુ ટુડેઝ ન્યૂ એજ મોમ કે ભાઈ 5th સ્ટેન્ડર્ડના છોકરાને તમે ડિલિવરી માટે મોકલો, આઈ ડોન્ટ નો, ઘરે કદાચ મોટો કકડાટ થઈ જશે. સો તમે જેવી રીતના તમારું બ્રિંગિંગ અપ છે, તમે જેવી રીતના એને કેળવી શકો છો ઇઝ વોટ મેટર્સ. I have been to the bank in my school days. In fact, the bank had a good rapport with me also. So, I used to study near the cash counter. મારા સ્ટોરના કેશ કાઉન્ટર પર I was studying there. So, તમે કેવી રીતના બ્રિંગ અપ થાઓ છો, તમે કેવી રીતના ફેમિલી સાથે જોડાયેલા છો is what is important. I was there for 2.5 years in US, but there was not a single night જ્યાં અમે લોકો સ્કાઇપ નહોતા કરતા. ત્યારે સ્કાઇપ હતું, વોટ્સએપ ને બધું કંઈ હતું નહીં. સો બિકોઝ ઓફ દેટ જે પ્રેમ અને જે લગન ફેમિલી પ્રત્યે છે એ તમે આઈ ફીલ 2 મહિનાથી વધારે તમે બહાર અબ્રોડ રહ્યો ત્યારે જ તમને ફેમિલી અને ખીચડીની વેલ્યુ થાય. સો આઈ ફીલ કે એન્ડ દેટ્સ વોટ પુલ્ડ મી બેક કે ફેમિલી એન્ડ જે ઇન્ડિયાનું ગ્રોથ સ્ટોરી છે ઇઝ સ્ટીલ યેટ ટુ કમ. સો દેટ વોઝ વોટ બ્રોટ મી બેક. એન્ડ વન્સ આઈ કેમ બેક ત્યારે આઈ ગોટ ટુ નો અ લોટ મોર અબાઉટ બિઝનેસ કે ભાઈ ઇટ્સ નોટ જસ્ટ કેશ કાઉન્ટર, ઇટ્સ નોટ જસ્ટ purchase, it's not just accounts, it's not just marketing, it's a whole package. And how you deal with that is, every day is a new day. There is no fixed formula for how you grow. So you have to learn, sometimes unlearn bhi એટલું જ important છે. So, and that's how you grow. I feel that's
Great. I think you brought in 3 significant points. Did you also go to the store when you were 11 years old, 10 years old?
I had the privilege actually to stay right behind our main store. So any time of the day or any time, it's okay. I mean, you just get free. Okay, let's go to the store, do some sales, learn the system, do a little bit of billing, go up and do stuff which all the labor would do rather. Like, stringing of rackets, putting grips, small things. But yeah, so that was, we were privileged enough to stay close by. And actually another thing is seeing our fathers work so hard, 9 in the morning going, 9 in the morning, night back. You just ended up always looking up to them. He's slogging, yaar. He is like there. He is 7 days a week. So you always want to go and, so a child initially, when he's at that age, like 5, 7, he tries to show rather, I am old enough as well. So I can also do sales. I can also earn money. So that was one of the reasons.
મોટું થઈ ગયો.
Yeah. I mean, it was it's out of, yeah. It's, there it goes.
Yeah. Before I ask you more questions, I just want to tell you, the global statistics says, if the second generation is introduced the business by 11 years old, the probability of the second generation staying in the business keeps increasing. You try to introduce the second generation between 18 to 21, the probability of that being successful keeps decreasing. आपका अगर बच्चे को 11, 12, 14 की उम्र में आपके धंधे के लिए गर्व नहीं आया तो 21 साल में गर्व का उम्मीद मत करना. 21 साल में उसको अपने लड़की का घर में उम्मीद होएगा. So it is a very interesting statistic, and I just wanted to make sure that it is an interesting statistic. It has worked globally. globally it's been the 11 is considered the peak age to get introduced, and मैंने आपका भी 11 साल सुना, and you also going there. I think that is, it contributes around 50%. The probability of that is as high as 50%. And we think good education and all that is there. I'm just going to ask you, you did your graduation in London.
Correct.
And then you studied in the US, and you see a big world. You see a big world. I mean, and you would have been there 10 years ago, a decade ago, you must have been there, or a little more than that.
Same. 2012, I got back.
Yeah, and there,
13.
a huge, and you see big things out there. And then you have your own store, which is one nano chota sa store, which is nowhere comparison to what there. And the opportunities must be so big. Your classmates must be talking about, I'm going to work in Marks and Spencer, or your classmates must be talking about what the future they're going to make. I'm going to be CEO Marks and Spencer, or I'm going to be CEO Harrods, or something like that. And you are coming back to one Society General or one selection. Correct. So what is your inspiration? And my first question, what is your inspiration? And do you regret that decision, or are you proud of that decision? And what motivates you now to stay in this business? First Karthik, and then I'll come back to Manu.
So, as I told you, I used to go as a kid. So I had actually decided then itself that I would be joining business. So because of that, my education was also structured in that kind of way. That I finished my 10th in ICSE, and then I did a IB because I wanted to go abroad. Because so after finishing IB also, that was in a boarding school. My mom said, enough of being outdoor. Whatever you want to study, now you study here. And I joined HR college following his footsteps. Did 2 years of BCom, and at the same time,
परिवार को HR में confirmed admission होता है.
वो छोटा भाई भी वहाँ पे गया था.
ये मैं पूछ रहा था कि.
So, but then I was doing my CA side by side, and fortunately I was working with our own, during the internship, our own CA, and one of the days I was just doing auditing.
That is Tushar, you're working.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
Tushar. And I was auditing, and that's when Dad said that, is your offer letter still valid for Oxford? So I said, I don't know, I'll have to mail and check. I'm not too sure about that. And we mailed and checked, and it said it was there. And then so Oxford was business management, but then later I found out there was a course in London which was retail management, and it majored in sport. So that was like, for me, that's it. I mean, I don't need to do anything else, because it had Mike Ashley, who is the owner of the world's largest sports chain, Sports Direct, Lily Whites and Sports Direct. They've got close to 4,000 stores. And he was one of my tutors in the year 3. And it was just absolutely there. So what I did during the same time, I did 2.5 years, I was working in Nike out there. So started as a normal sales guy, cleaning the store and putting things on racks and all. And
You had an experience in your own store. You must be the most experienced guy in IKEA to do that.
absolutely, you will not believe, there were guys who had come from Bombay who shopped at my store and still come to Selection Sports, because that time I told them I own Selection Sports. So I'm talking about so many years back, and they still come and ask, Karthik hai? So, I mean, that's the relation we had. And
You used IKEA to do selection marketing.
you can have, see, one thing from a business,
Yeah.
Vania, you will never, marketing kidhar bhi jao, aaj bhi dekho na, marketing hi to kar rahe.
I get it. I just want to know is, now, so you didn't regret the decision of coming back? because-
Absolutely never.
And yes, what about, I'll just come back to you, the same questions to you. What inspired you? Do you regret? And what you're looking at the future now? Ankshmi, I know you're patiently listening to them. I'm just going to come back to you to bring this data out to you.
My forte or my interest was in physics. So 9.3 I was into science and physics, and I did my engineering into that, and I wanted to pursue something that I enjoyed at that point of time. So I did my master's in nanotechnology from US, and I was there for 2.5 years. And I was like, I'd been to all the Walmarts of the world, the Safeways, and all the big stores which are probably spread across 3-4 acres at least. અહીંયા તો આપણે વિચારી પણ ન શકીએ આટલી જગ્યા મળવી is a question mark. So the kind of systems that they had in place, the kind of efficiency that they were working at, the kind of scale and volumes that they had was, it kind of opened my eyes, that the retail is something that I was a part of, but it gave me a completely different picture altogether. And that's when I felt ki bhai, I almost finished my engineering and I had graduated from there. I had offers from there as well, and I had a chance to settle there. But I was like, sorry, this is not happening. I cannot be here. I cannot plan my life according to.
खिचड़ी देते नहीं हो, खिचड़ी बॉम्बे में
नहीं खिचड़ी बनाना पड़ता है ना उधर बनाना पड़ता है. So that's what I told you, right? If you stay there for 2 months or 3 months and more, that's when you realize the true value of India and family. So that's when I decided that sorry, I'm not going to stay there, and because I see my friends there. They come here they come to India once in a year for about 15 or 21 days. It's exactly 15 or 21 days, 2 or 3 weeks. And it's crazy the way they have to manage those days because 2 or 3 days go into jet lag. So I made a decision that this is not the lifestyle I would want to have, and I'm getting my family back. So that's when I chose to come back. And I think the most important reason is getting my family back, and there's freedom and flexibility here as compared to what I used to, what I would have had there had I pursued that way of life. So
Okay, great. So we listened to the good part. Now I'm going to come to what was the confronting part, what was the difficult part, because any business goes through difficult moments. I'm going to come to that part of the question, but now I'm going to come to Anshuman and say, Anshuman, when you look at typically business, there are two things. There's this family-based businesses, and then there's this professional businesses, and then there are future markets. You having specialized in retail and especially consumer retail, where do you see the future of the retail business, and how prominent do you see, or how much potential is there for family-managed businesses in the retail sector?
Thanks. Am I audible? All right. So, look, I don't have such interesting stories. I don't come from a retail background as such. The only simile that I can draw is that I run a sizable retail practice where I sell advice. Perhaps that's my way of retailing in a different avatar. But I'll just step back a little bit, and I've been hearing, of course, Mr. Nagesh talk about a lot of orientation changes, and in my own interpretation, maybe step back and just speak about certain things that we are observing as a firm, as practitioners in the space. See, this is India's decade, pretty much. If you see what's happening around us, China, the story is becoming more and more bleak. The BRIC, if you look at it, Indonesia, Russia, Brazil, they're not catching up anymore. So across the board, and I speak with, let's say yesterday I was speaking with the Marks and Spencer's global leadership. So the kind of sort of exposure is slightly different, but everybody's looking at India as a shining star now for the next 5 to 10 years. It's being called India's decade. But in this whole story, while so many things are changing from a consumer perspective, economy, income, all of that, I think that if you just look at two ends of the value chain, the first is the farmer, the second is on the front end, the retailer, right? These two are not getting much richer or maybe facing certain struggles, right? And I think that if I just reflect on what's that thing that is actually stopping, these two ends of the value chain to become richer, more prosperous, it's because the conversion from moving from a livelihood business to an enterprise institutionalized business is not happening really at the pace that it could happen or it has happened in other markets on both ends. If you think farmer, there are corporate farms, investment that goes in, capital that goes in, and it takes the real form of a business. It's not even 1 or 2 people dependent. It becomes professionally run. The same is the case with retail. Of course, modern retail, e-commerce are doing exactly that. It's also retailing, but it is being run with capital. There is a quest for expansion, right? When you're talking about retail, you know, whether it's a family managed business which has an expansionary approach, or it could be a standalone kirana store or an apparel store, it's like what you have is, on one hand, the farmer has 2 acres of land. Here you have 1 store and so many square feet. And I remember, you know, speaking in 2010 with Mr. Kishore Biyani once, and he said, very telling fact, he said that there are 2 things that are limiting today the whole general trade retail environment. One is the space that is available, and the second is the working capital that is available. But the market is exploding from a demand perspective. Tens of new brands in every category. You see, you know, even in cars, I don't remember the last count, but if you go to a certain segment, you'll find 500 variants, and still you don't find what you want, right? So this whole brands are expanding, categories are expanding, but how can a small outfit really house all of those? And what does it mean for the consumer? So he's going elsewhere for fulfilling his choices, because eventually he's not getting that in the kirana or the small store environment. And that is what e-commerce today is doing. Now, I just want to step back. I'll come to your point on the family managed business part of it, but you know, in my eyes, some of the principles are important. Now, e-commerce is coming, the Zeptos, Grofers, Blinkit, all of that we spoke about, right? But you reflect on what happened in food service, in restaurants business, QSR. Till 2017-18, everybody was struggling because real estate costs, you know, people used to come in when you used to open the store. After 6 months, they used to disappear. Stores used to become loss-making, 30% closure, 30% opening. Businesses were not growing. People have lost big capital, private equity guys in the food service industry. What has Zomato, Swiggy done? 30 to 40% sale right now in the catchment is coming from through those guys, right? So this whole industry has revived thanks to Swiggy and Zomato. I mean, they may be burning money, etc. But the point is, you can do with lesser, smaller stores. You're getting 30, 40%. I mean, someone like a Subway does 55% of its sales through home delivery. Domino's is investing in their own. I mean, they always had their own, but more and more of that. So I think this is an ecosystem that is developing. I would see it as a comprehensive ecosystem that is developing. And today as EY, the biggest concept that we are seeing, right, from all the large FMCG and retail players is what we are calling connected commerce, which is saying that online hai, offline hai, you have D2C, you have B2B commerce, you have Udaan, you have Jio, you have Amazon, you have Kirana, you have modern trade, and you have D2C, ghar pe bhi bhej rahe. How can brands think about getting it all together? And there are actually live cases if you see. Middle East mein, Pepsi has done it in a way that pin code level pe, or you know, at a catchment level, they are sensing demand and then saying, isko kirana se serve karna hai, ki isko modern trade se serve karna hai, ki isko home delivery se serve karna hai. So they are looking at customer at the center. And that is where in the next 5 years, I'm saying 5 is a pretty long time in today's day, but 2 types of investment are already happening. One is customer first party data. There are people like Mondelez who are buying now, doing projects to get 1 million. Now that is the big strength that retailers today have, right? How are we using that data, phone numbers, knowledge, all of that, right? So customer data at the center, number 1. Number 2 is shipment data at the center. See, today ShipRockets of the world, deliveries of the world are sending all the pin code data is available, that who is buying at what address, what kind of product at what time of the month. All of this will come in the center, and then multiple delivery modes will come in the form of what everybody is dreaming of as connected commerce, right? So I just wanted to say that, you know, in the overall scheme of things, the concept of retail that India is building is going to be very modern and very futuristic, perhaps far ahead of what has happened in other markets as well. And that's what the dream of connected commerce is. And today, Kirana, small stores will be pretty much part of that story and a very, very important part of the story. I must also say that, like Mr. Nagesh said, that you know, the whole quick commerce part of it, there is a big cash burn, etc. There are people in industry who are writing it off, saying they'll close down or consolidate, etc. But there are people who are saying that retailers are the future. That is not going, you know, Unilever is one of those with Shikhar equipping 1.2 million outlets, etc. But they are also not getting the similar support from the retailers. Wo app download karte, fir use nahi karte. So all investments also have to pay back. But large companies are seeing, earlier distributors used to be where this, you know, span of interest used to end. It is going one step forward to retailers and saying that retailers will be at the core of what the company will be about, and they will increasingly invest into the retailers. You know, GAO is also doing that in technology, in data, and in goods, all of that, to create that ecosystem with the customer, but in a connected fashion. Sorry. So, long story short, I think it's important, you know, from my perspective, where we
You
come
set up
from.
The ecosystem.
Yeah. I think the big thing here is two points, I would say, between differences between, let's say, you know, is the point that I made, that if you're looking at it as an enterprise, right, because like we said, it's space expansion, and capital and buying expansion, right? For this to become a business, I think all of you have gone through that journey. What do we need to do for that? Which is first move it away from thinking about it as a livelihood business and a family-only business towards an institutional business. That is where the power of retail will start getting freed. I'm not saying everybody has to become a Shoppers Stop or a DMart, but I'm saying there are Ratnadeeps of the world in Hyderabad, for example. They are ready today for private equity kind of investment as well. But once you go down that path, and then you have external investors, then you have professional people running the organization, you know, the whole journey becomes a much, I would say, you know, rewarding journey as shareholders of the business, not necessarily the people who are running the business. I think that's the journey that, you know, I would say that we will see over the, you know, next few years. And there are families and there are businesses across cities that are gearing up to that journey.
I think I'm going to take a point which you began with and you brought again connected it towards the end when you said I'll take a step back. And the line that you put in was where it's a livelihood business to an enterprise business. And would you say that a livelihood business to an enterprise business is about mindset? It's about changing the mindset. The mindset has to change, or is there anything specific that
Yeah,
changes?
I think the second generation I'm seeing across the board, I mean, with such great educational backgrounds and all, it would be almost, I would say, a pity if they were not to do the 10x in their first gen's business. So I think with all the education, all the knowledge, and today with the kind of funding available, knowledge available, technological inroads that have happened, I think it's only, I would say, it should be an expectation from the first generation to the second generation to make it 10 or 100x.
And I'm going to straight away put this point to you. Mindset as a key factor to bringing change and growth. How many of you think that that has been important in your journey, having to change the mindset? Yes. Then I'm going to ask each of you to say, do you all agree that mindset change has been? So I want you to share me, like, if you can share with the audience, and the question that I'm going to be putting right, beginning first with Mr. Hitesh is, what was the mindset change that you had to go through? What were the rewards you had? But at the same time, what was the difficulties that you had? What are the difficulties that you had in bringing mindset change? So if you can give me that whole ecosystem of your own mindset change, and the number of times you did it. Probably you must have done it first when you were building it, second when your son came into the business, and that time. So if you could share that, and I would take that mindset conversation across with each one.
See, initial days, that time I must tell you that we used to do some cheat business. Local manually bill, manual tally system, daily cash tally karo, रात को कितना business हुआ वो tally करो. But manual all, everything was manual. That was the first challenge. That we have turned from manual to computerized. The first system that has changed the revolution. I must tell you, because of electronic system, the computer system, the inventory system, that has all changed the life of our initial journey. Slowly we have moved from manual to computerized billing to all inventory, then inventory based to all across the chain. We everyone, everyone, we have to tell them that daily, every day, okay, this is the way how you should do business. This is the way how you can grow your business. Among the staff only. You won't believe, we have the staff since 35 years who are still with us, who have not gone anywhere. They had come only for 200, 300 rupees salary, wages, and today they are across 40,000 rupees. But still, they are the part of our family. Like I said, when my son joined, I would dream that he will come back. I know that he won't stay in London. Whenever I tell him that you go जाओ उधर करके आओ study, but he won't stay there because he is also from my business family. Being like the father taught me this, all this, then I taught him everything, and he is also because of my all tuition or anything, whatever you say, and the family, how you behave in family, because we every day evaluate
I'm
the
just
business.
going to go straight into one point which you said where you moved from all this.
This is the
manual
first-
to technology where you did.
No,
But
this is the first challenge of my first.
in that I want to ask one question, Hitesh, is that must also have been moving from cash to full white.
No.
I mean, that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cultural change.
that is there. But because of that only you can grow.
Okay.
Like Mr. Nagesh said, you have to move from your cash counter. You cannot stick your Favicol on that, and you have to move from the cash counter. Then only you will grow. That is the first point. But
You
the
agree
challenge.
like नागेश्वर ने बोला है,
हाँ.
तो आप बोलते हैं कि you must be giving that. That means you are telling कि आप अपने कैश काउंटर से उठ के बात करो, फिर बाद में कुछ होएगा.
That
जब
is
तक आप
what
उधर बैठे रहेगा, कुछ
the
नहीं
very good speech which I learned today.
Okay,
and
great.
I must tell you that was the first challenge. Second challenge was we don't have fund. पैसा कहाँ से लाने का? पैसा तो see, this is all very capital investment business. What we carry is right now. Our business is mainly purely it's a luxury business. You'll first find the whatever your needs. आपको आपका किराना लेंगे, वो लेंगे, सब कुछ लेंगे, कपड़ा लेंगे. हमारा needs तो last में आता है. Sports is a passion. Sports is not the necessity. तो आपको when you come to the store, it's a passion because of passion driven you
तो
have
पहला
come.
आदमी सोसाइटी जनरल
सोसाइटी पहले बजाएगा,
last
फिर
में
कपड़ा
selection
जाएगा,
जाता है.
एंड देन हमारे पास तो लास्ट में आएगा. जबकि उसके पास जेब में कुछ पैसा होएगा तो आएगा. दैट वाज आवर सेकंड चैलेंज.
अगर लक्ष्मीचंद भाई ने भी जेब का पैसा छोड़ दिया तो
because of the see finance also very big problem, but हमारी सोसाइटी में क्या होता है, we got each and everyone, we have good faith, good because of our good relation, हमारी सोसाइटी में पैसा जितना चाहिए उतना हमको मिल जाता है. I must tell you and because of the funding we get, because हमारे ऊपर उनको trust है कि हम लोग कहीं हमारा इंटरेस्ट कहीं नहीं जाएगा, कि कुछ भी कहीं नहीं जाएगा. So that was the second challenge we were facing.
आपको तो टोनी ही पैसा दे देते हैं. अभी क्या
Tony
है?
was not giving paisa. Tony was giving goods.
हाँ, तो इतना
Tony was
भरोसा तो
giving
आपने उस दिन
goods.
ही कमा
Tony was
लिया.
giving goods for credit, not for वो पैसा तो लेता था. But हमारी सोसाइटी से
बट ट्रस्ट तो ये सावला फैमिली आई थिंक पहले से ही कमा
हाँ
लेगी.
वो तो कमाया है. सावला family 19. See, this shop was 1956. It's I think I'm the third generation. He is my fourth generation in business. So business is in my blood. That was the second challenge. And third challenge, how to manage the show. That was the third biggest challenge we were having. But after my son introduction, he had moved to some different level. I must tell you, that is all three challenges we were facing that time. And still, we are mainly now facing the e-commerce. You won't believe the e-commerce has grown so much that we have to fight in each and every stage. We have to fight with them. A day start with the e-commerce. Customer comes with the Flipkart or Amazon or anything. This product I'm getting at this price. Are you willing to give? And we have to match sometime. We have to give our express service. We have to give whatever the best he can. Because of the experience only he comes to our shop. That was my thirst one.
Great. I'll just also come back to you, Karthik, so that I can complete there and then bring the same idea here. Is what was the mindset change? And how difficult was it? How easy was it? And then how beneficial was it?
So to be very honest, I had come with a very open mindset and nothing in particular. I knew how the business used to work normally when we were here. And I was headstrong because what I had learnt actually when I was abroad, and particularly on retail, and I knew how the show ran, I wanted to actually replicate the exact same thing which was out there, out here, and put everything on systems. It should be every staff is accountable for absolutely everything that he does. So one of the few things.
Systems was one thing that.
Systems was the most important thing, and
He brought in the technology and you brought in the systems.
To be honest, the technology. So initially, of course, he had decided when our CA joined us. The first thing that we did was we got out of the manual billing. We introduced Tally. After Tally, we introduced Shopper. Shopper was a more post-terminal kind of a thing. And just around 5 or 6 years back, we introduced an ERP as well. So that is Genesis. It's part of the Oracle.
And now you built up whole system.
So so we're the only vendor of Genesis who is running an end-to-end, right from like across India. Although even Manyavar, who is 100 times bigger than us, is using Genesis, but the backend, they're not using all the functions of it, whereas we are using every single product. So everything now, it's all on reporting, and so that particular
Are you also
mindset.
using Genesis or not? You're using something else. Okay.
So that particular mindset was not only me, but that change needed to be there because there were guys who were much senior than me in the organization. Like they were probably 30, 20, 35 years
You were able
old.
to convince them.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you one question, Karthik. How did you manage that? In business, I generally see generational conflicts. I've been here, I've been running the family managed business program, working with various, and I see, how are you managing to make your father feel so proud of you? He seems to be talking every 3 lines, my son, my son. How did you manage? Did you con him or what did you do? Like, what did you do? Every son would want that from his father.
To be honest, the best thing about the father-son relationship, it's not a father-son relationship when we're in office. For me, it is, yes, Papa, you bring on plate experience. I'm bringing on plate something different. Tell me when I'm going wrong because of your experience, because you've seen it through, you've seen many years more than me.
Otherwise, don't interfere.
No. So that's when, Nagesh sir said, you need the first generation to be on the front end side, and you need the second generation to be manning the back side. So once the back end is, to be honest, back end is probably the last thing which anyone will see.
Entrepreneur and the back-end professional.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you manage that whole value chain from the front-end entrepreneur to the back.
To the back end. And someone needs to be there mediating it as well. So,
Great.
because between staff and senior guys at the organization, and of course the promoter rather, that the bridge between them needs to be very, very strong. Because only then you're going to be having, so the moving ahead, that's what we said, and I totally agree with what Anshuman sir said, that, moving ahead, it's never going to be, so even till date, we never say it's going to be, it's our business, we own the business, this, that, it's none of that. It's a family, we are a family together, we all have grown together, and in the future, it is going to be run by professionals. It's already started rather. But moving ahead, even right from, say, the CEO role or a managing director role, it's something because only then, once you're not on the executing side, only then can you be on the business development side. Because if you're going to be on the executing side, you're going to be swamped up all day in execution, and you're never going to think about the future.
So that means you're almost saying that in the next generation, when the next generation is coming, you will be the front-end entrepreneur and you will be building the back-end professional.
I might not even be there. Probably we might diversify into something different. You never know, because at the end of the day, one thing I've learned is not to have an emotional connect with your company or, absolutely anything. Because there will be sometimes you will have to move on. Yes, you could be on the board, you could be on, on the leadership end of that, or, as a consultant. Because
I understand you don't have the emotional connect, but you said you built your entire staff as your own family, right?
Yes, absolutely. So that's why I said, we can be on the board, we can be on the leadership side. And it's not necessary, the staff is also going to be with you throughout.
You're saying there's an integration of the whole emotion and the professional and bringing.
There needs to be that balance.
And that mindset needs to alter to bring that growth and that balance.
See, change is the forever constant at the end of the day. So there is not much.
With, mindset, and how important do you think mindset needs to shift? First Manan and then Lakshmi Chandbhai.
Yeah, well, the mindset that normally comes in a Kirana store is, like Nageshji rightly said, is the Fevicol issue. I don't know if it is for groceries, but I believe it is for practically all family-run businesses. So, yeah, you have to develop processes and systems, just like he said, without which it will be impossible for you to get out of your existing swamp that you've created around yourself. It's not just the cash counter, but it is also the art of delegation. You know, it's the art of responsibility that you have to pass it on to your staff, to your members, and you have to see them grow. You should be open to their suggestions as well. It's a journey that you have to take together. So the company grows, you have to grow along with it. You have to make sure that your staff and your team grows with it. If it is me, myself, and I, that's not how an organization works. So that's exactly why we also have had people with us since many decades now. So yeah, I feel that's quite important, and you have to keep up with the changing times. The other issue that we face is, we as second generations convincing the first generation is probably take charge, take leadership of something that if the first generation does not approve of something, yes, like they bring experience and wisdom to the plate, but we have energy, we have ideas, we have strategies that we need to discuss with them. We have to make sure that, this is not a father-son relationship, it's a friendship. I see it as a friendship. We make sure that we discuss even the smallest issues that we have in our organization, be it the security guard, or be it a strategy that we are planning, a campaign, be it an advertisement campaign, or be it something that we want to change in our software or our processes. So every single thought is discussed, because I feel only, when you churn, you get the makhan out of it, So communication is the key. Once you make sure that, when you come on a level ground, when you come on a proper level ground, that's when you realize that, okay, yes, this is something that we can explore. And there's no harm in exploring. And that's the best part about being the second generation is, even if you make mistakes, it's okay. You don't have to be afraid of making mistakes. Even if you make mistakes, you have a solid background of your father and your grandfather backing you and making sure that, the mistake that happens will be probably a very small mistake as compared to what you would have done probably 5 or 10 years down the line, which probably would have cost you millions. So I also feel that, okay, if you have something in your mind, please feel free to share. Never step back from communicating, and always do not be afraid of failing. So if you fail, big deal. You don't fail, you learn. So if you have something in your mind and you want to execute something, yes, you take a decision together. If it works, fantastic. If it does not, then you learn some. That's how we got these light bulbs. I think Edison, right? Edison failed probably thousands of times, or else we would have been having candles all around us. I don't know. But he had that passion to, fail. It's okay. But it's not the way you fail. It's you come to know that, okay, these are 1,000 ways that a light bulb does not work. It's the perception, it's the mindset. The way you look at things is what is important. So, I feel.
Interesting point that you're making. So what you're saying is, first, of course, the relationship between the first generation, second generation. Second thing is, you're saying don't complain about the first generation. Bring responsibility yourself. Say that you're ready to take the risk. And don't worry about failing. Accept your own failures. That's going to happen. It's inevitable that you are going to try something. But if you take responsibility for your actions, it is the previous generation is definitely going to give you that freedom to experiment and explore.
So just to weigh in, we all know Jeff Bezos is as the CEO and the founder of Amazon, but we don't know the number of businesses that died before he reached Amazon. You just have to be right once.
So you're saying be on the pitch.
Yeah. Don't give up. You have to be on the pitch. You have to make sure that, you just have to be right once.
Yeah, it's interestingly said that Reliance is the company with the maximum number of failed businesses. The only thing is the number of attempts are so high that they keep trying something. So the failed businesses don't pull them down. They actually teach them to go further. We look at Reliance as a successful big business, but it's been handled the maximum number of failures an enterprise would handle. Yes, Lakshmichandra bhai, in terms of कि जो mindset जो आपने change किया, मुझे तो लगता है 270 स्क्वायर फीट में आप जब चालू किया था, और अभी 6 स्टोर, और अभी नागेश जी ने बोला इस हाउस स्टोर तो आपको करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आप फेलियर डिक्लेयर हो जाओगे। ये बम्बई में इस हाउस स्टोर, उन्होंने इंडिया का बोला नहीं,
Yeah,
बम्बई में इस हाउस स्टोर का अपॉर्चुनिटी है। तो ये माइंडसेट आपको कितना तकलीफ हुआ, और जब सेकंड इज आपने ये तकलीफ लेने के बाद कितना बेनिफिट देगा, ऐसा कुछ बेनिफिट देगा या प्रिफर करते थे कि ये माइंडसेट चेंज ही नहीं करता था मैं?
देखिए, कोई भी बिजनेस के अंदर आपको हर टाइम इवोल्यूशन करना पड़े, भैया मैं जो कर रहा हूँ वो सही कर रहा हूँ या गलत कर रहा हूँ। जैसा नागेश जी ने बताया कि आप फेविकॉल या फेवी बॉन्ड लगाकर आप जो चिटक गए हैं वहां से आपको निकलना पड़ेगा। बट 90% लोगों का सवाल ये होता है कि कैसे निकले। तो कैसे निकले उसके लिए तो अगर सोचेंगे तो 500 रास्ते निकलेंगे। आप सिस्टम एंड प्रोसेसेस लगा दीजिए, आपकी इन्वेंट्री आप कंप्यूटर के ऊपर लेके आइए, उसके जो सर्टन पैरामीटर्स है वो आप सेट कर दीजिए कि ये अलाउड है, ये अलाउड नहीं है, और आप गल्ला छोड़ दीजिए। द मोमेंट यू लीव द गल्ला और लीव द कैश काउंटर, जहां पर आप बैठ नहीं रहे हो, तो आपके दिमाग में 555 सवाल आएंगे कि अब मैं क्या करूं, कैसे करूं और क्यों करूं। ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, बट उसके लिए आपको 100% जागरूक रहना पड़ेगा। आप ऐसा बोलेंगे कि नहीं यार अभी ये तो गल्ला संभाल रहा है, परचेस वाला परचेस कर रहा है, नहीं चलेगा बिजनेस। अब हमारा रिटेल का ही बिजनेस देख लो। अब मेरी दुकान पर आप आइए, आपको पिज्जा बनवाना है तो क्या मिलेगा मेरी दुकान में, ग्रोसरी की दुकान के अंदर सिर्फ पिज्जा का रोटी मिलेगा आपको? नहीं, आपको पिज्जा का रोटी बेचना पड़ेगा, पिज्जा सॉस बेचना पड़ेगा, उसके ऊपर जो 50 वैरायटी की चीज आती है वो 50 वैरायटी की चीज बेचनी पड़ेगी, स्वीट कॉर्न बेचना पड़ेगा, बेबी कॉर्न, बेल पेपर और सीजनिंग्स XYZ, मतलब उसके साथ 15-20 चीज और लगेगी। तब जाकर कस्टमर आपके पास से हिलेगा नहीं। तो ये कौन सोचेगा? अगर मैं गल्ले पे खड़ा रहा हूं तो मैं नहीं सोच पाऊंगा। अगर मैं गल्ले से बाहर खड़ा हूं तो मेरे को ये दिमाग में आएगा और ये मेरे बच्चे लोगों को मैं ट्रेन करूंगा। इट्स नॉट अबाउट पिज्जा, इट्स अबाउट एवरीथिंग एल्स। आपको कोई भी, आपको एक ब्लैक दाल बनानी है, ब्लैक दाल के अंदर 6 चीज लगेगी आपको। अब वो कौन बताएगा? अगर आपने कस्टमर को वो डिलाइट दिखा दिया कि मैडम आपने ब्लैक दाल तो ली लेकिन उसका ये मसाला स्पेशल है, ये आपने नहीं लिया, उसको ऐसा लगेगा साला ये दुकान में मेरे को दोबारा जाना है। आज हर कॉर्नर के ऊपर, हर नुक्कड़ के ऊपर ग्रोसरी स्टोर है, और अभी मेडिकल स्टोर ग्रोसरी स्टोर से भी बढ़ गए, एंड दे आर 50, 60, 70, 80% डिपेंड अपॉन द एरिया ऑफ द स्टोर। वो सुपरमार्केट ही हो गया है। तो आपको आपका बिजनेस कस्टमर के पास से कैसे लेके आना है, वो अगर आप फ्री नहीं बैठे हैं तो आप नहीं सोच पाएंगे। मतलब आपको दुकान के अंदर से फ्री होना पड़ेगा।
2 चीज आपने इंटरेस्टिंग बोला कि गल्ला तो आपको छोड़ना पड़ेगा, ये अगर आपको ग्रो होना है तो।
1 मिनट, गल्ला छोड़ना पड़ेगा विद द प्रॉपर प्रोसेसेस। मैं अभी भी अंडरलाइन करके बोल रहा हूं।
और आपने बोला कि
आपको शाम का गल्ला आपको मालूम पड़ना चाहिए कि कितने बिल कटे, कितना माल रिटर्न आया तो उसका स्टॉक आपके पास प्रॉपर है कि नहीं। अगर 5 पीस रिटर्न आए तो अगर 5 पीस रिटर्न है, यस, देन इट इज अ राइट प्रोसेस। सॉरी, गो अहेड।
बट ये जब गला छोड़ेंगे और प्रोसेस करेंगे तो एक तो डर तो रहेगा ना।
सर, आप खाना खाते हैं?
हाँ,
श्योर। एंड में हम दावल चाल लेते हैं जनरली, तो डू यू थिंक वो जैन के माफी का पानी डाल के पी जाते हैं? नो,
नहीं।
उसके अंदर 1 पाव चम्मच दाल, 6 दाना चावल का रह जाता है। मैं डिटेल नहीं जाऊंगा, बट आपको वो छोड़ देना
हाँ, रह
पड़ेगा।
जाते।
तो वो छोड़ देना पड़ेगा। सो पाव टका, आधा टका आप ये देख लो कि ये छूट रहा है, उसके पीछे मत भागो। हाँ, ये देख लो आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कोई करप्ट बंदा है, और करप्ट बंदा होता है तो 2, 5, 10 दिन, 15 दिन, महीने के अंदर आपको मालूम पड़ जाता है कि ये सही बंदा नहीं है, आप उसको निकाल दो।
मतलब ये डर जितना भी हो, आप ये ट्राई कर लोगे तो प्रोसेस बैठ जाएगा।
100% बैठ जाएगा। ये मेरा ट्रायल एंड टेस्टेड अनुभव। मैं ये नहीं कहूंगा कि आज भी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, प्रॉब्लम्स तो आएंगे। आप बिजनेस करेंगे तो अभी जैसे आपकी एज बढ़ेगी वैसे आपके प्रॉब्लम, सर्दी हो गई, खांसी हो गई, बुखार आ गया, तो क्या आप जीना छोड़ देंगे? नहीं। आप मेटासिन लेंगे, क्रोसिन लेंगे, डोलो लेंगे, और वो भी असर नहीं करे तो उसके ऊपर की और दवाई लेंगे। तो करप्ट बंदे को आप आपकी लाइफ में मत रखो। जो बंदा आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में आपको तकलीफ दे रहा है, ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये कुछ उंगली कर रहा है, प्लीज 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 उसको निकाल दो। कितना भी इंपॉर्टेंट बंदा है वो, उसके बिगैर दुकान नहीं चलेगी तो शटर डाउन कर दो, बट नो स्टुपिडिटी इज अलाउड।
So then what I can understand, what from the discussion, I'll just summarize this, because we're going to the last 15 minutes of discussion, I've got 2-3 questions which we need to answer, is one is definitely passion, second is interest is there, but the need to change your mindset at every time, to be open, you said change, and build this, and take responsibility for your work, and most importantly, गले से उठो, और थोड़ा बहुत दाल चावल खाते समय थोड़ा रह जाता है, उस पर आप थोड़ा ध्यान छोड़ दो, अगर वो दाल चावल के जो बचा हुआ दाल चावल में, तो आने वाले बुफे आपके हाथ से निकल जाए, यही आपको बोलना है। ये दाल चावल
बचाने के चक्कर में यस आप 56 भोग का बुफे आप गवा रहे हो,
तो
और ये होना ही है। आप हर चीज नहीं कर, देखो आपको सिर्फ बिजनेस नहीं करना है, आपको वर्क बैलेंस भी करना है, आपको आपकी फैमिली के साथ भी रहना है, आपको व्यवहार भी संभालना है, और आपको आपकी लाइफ भी एंजॉय करनी है। हाउ इट इज पॉसिबल? इट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू डू ऑल थिंग्स टुगेदर। मतलब अगर आपको बिट्स एंड पार्ट्स में अगर आप उसको डिवाइड कर देंगे तो मेरे हिसाब से नथिंग इज इम्पॉसिबल।
Great. Now, Anshuma, I'll just come back to you. Before I come back to you, I want to ask you a very, very important question based on what we've been discussing here. But I think a very valid point that's coming out of the panel discussion is that you got to get that your business has potential. You believe it has potential, it will have potential. And you don't believe it has potential, then nobody can believe, na? Like मैं ही अपना बेटा सोचते कि ये कुछ काम का नहीं है, तो फिर क्या? I think that's very good. Like whatever the business is, whether it's a 270 square feet business or it is a small deal of 4 balls, the future is always bright if you believe in it. Oh yeah, definitely. But only 1 minute because I have to go on.
I'm so sorry. બીજું મારે એટલું જ કહેવાનું કે તમે જે બી બિઝનેસની અંદર છો એ 25-50 વર્ષથી છો, તમારા ગ્રાન્ડફાધર, ફાધર, છોકરા, એના છોકરાઓએ તમે સંભાળી લીધું છે. સો દેટ મીન્સ યોર ફાઇનાન્શિયલ કેપેસિટી ઇઝ એક્સ, વાય ઓર ઝેડ, વોટ એવર. તમે એના 25% તમે તમારું જે નવું જનરેશન છે ને એને તમે આપી દો કે બેટા આ 25% પૈસા છે અને આપણે બંને બેસી પ્લાન કરી અને આપણે એને આગળ વધારીએ, એન્ડ યુ સી ધ મેજિક 100%. અને કદાચ એ 25% ડૂબી બી ગયા ફોર વોટ એવર રીઝન, તો તમારે એના માટે કચકચ કરવાની જરૂર નથી. જેમ નાગેશભાઈએ કીધું કે તમે 1 કરોડ રૂપિયા લગ્નમાં ખર્ચી શકશો. આપણે આપણી જે કોમ્યુનિટી અહીંયા બેઠી છે એ એમણે બહુ જ માર્મિક પિન મારી છે આપણને.
1 मिनट, मेरे को एक बात पूछनी, यहाँ से मैं एक इंपॉर्टेंट बात पूछता हूँ, मेरे को अभी याद आ गया. मतलब ऐसा अगर मैं बोलूँ सबको कि आपका अगर लड़का है या लड़की है, जो भी आपका नेक्स्ट जनरेशन 11 साल पे दुकान पे बैठा दो,
आई वोंट से दैट उसका क्या इंटरेस्ट है, उसको क्या इंटरेस्ट पड़ता है, दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अगर उसको दुकान पे जाने के चीड़ आती है तो मैं बोलूंगा कि आप प्लीज मेहरबानी करो और उसको ट्रेन करो, फोर्स मत करो, उसको समझाओ बैठ के.
बड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी रहना चाहिए.
आपका घर पे सवेरे नाश्ते का डाइनिंग टेबल के ऊपर और वेर एवर यू डू नाश्ता और लंच और डिनर जब भी बैठ सकते हैं, आप उनके साथ में बैठ के डिस्कस करो, उसको बताओ कि ये सही है ये गलत है, एंड लेट हिम डिसाइडेड आफ्टर सम एज. वो भी मूर्ख नहीं है.
I got it. Which means what you're saying is, it is natural that if you are passionate in believing, the second generation will start believing in it automatically. Right. Anshuman, the question that I'm asking you is, now there are lots of, the retail business, if you look at it, the small retail business, classically is a family managed business. And it has been existing as a livelihood. Would E&Y, as you are a retail practice that you're doing, you think there is potential to have a proper model which can be done where there can be a standard model on how these livelihood businesses can go to enterprise or something like that? You can look at it, or any input that you would like to give to this largely, because that is going to be the future. Enterprise business is going to be the future, and livelihood business has to transform to enterprise business. Is there a model that E&Y has, or something that you would like to recommend significantly, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think we're all saying the same thing in different ways, right? Where we are is, you're calling that passion, you're calling that mindset, but I think it's ambition. And today, ambition is non-negotiable, because think of it as a treadmill that is running fast. And if you don't intend to run along with the speed of the ambition, there is only one outcome that will happen by standing on the treadmill, right? And that is what we are talking about essentially, that if we have a very static business model where the whole world is changing around us, and we're not willing to run as fast as the treadmill, then we will fall. right? So I think that ambition itself automatically translates into the desire to make a change, and that desire to make a change will, forcefully lead to a change in mindset also, right? It's a comfortable place of staying, which is like, मेरा घर का खर्चा चला जाता है plus, पढ़ाई भी निकल जा रही है. Now from there to add the ambition and say that मेरे को उसको बड़ा करना है, and what do I leave behind and how do I create shareholder value more than just profit, right? So I think that is the difference between a business and I would say enterprise versus a family-run business. But having said that, while you're saying all this family-run business, I think there are tons of examples of big family-run businesses in this country. So many big names out there, right? I mean, even a Haldiram started with a bhujia shop somewhere. So there are enough examples out there between Pikaji, Bikanerwala, Haldiram. You can look into Dabur also, arguably it was a family. So all that is there. From a retail side also, you can see that, it's being built block by block. So fundamentally, does retail have the unit economics and the ability to become a good investable play? My answer to that is, and Mr. Nagesh is right here, I think it's not perhaps the most attractive business out there, but it is attractive enough to be expanded and grown into a full-fledged larger business. Let's say we're talking about if somebody has 10 odd stores, can that go to 100 stores? Of course it can, and it can make money, and it can get external investment, it could get professional expertise. There are a lot of chains which are homegrown. I know of one in Indore called Indoors. I think they're doing very well. So, and there is immediate, once you reach a certain size and scale, there's a lot of interest. Yeah. So as promoters, and I'm sure you all are following, right? Today, the money is not being made only out of the cash flow and the profits. It is out of the valuation that is there on the company. I think that journey is the journey which is essentially converting a home business into a business which is investable for others. And that multiple is a very different number, right? If you have, let's say, even, let's say 10% profit in your stores, you're basically getting paid today for future cash flows. And therefore, that number is much bigger. And you liquidate a little. We're not saying get out of it, but you make your own personal wealth, or as promoters, you make money through those aspects. The other things to add to that is, of course, expansion, digitization, a little bit of, online delivery models, apps, etc. Modernize it in a way that it is not a brick by brick kind of build out. So coming back to your question, I think definitely it is possible, and I think it starts with ambition, and if the ambition is demonstrated, then there are enough models that are out there which can at least take it to a very different level from where things are as a standalone small store, etc. Even, I'm personally, for example, I shop some of my sports stuff from Selection, right? But, what you get there in terms of personal experience, the look and feel, you may say Amazon and all, but if my son is buying a pair of pads, cricket pads, for example, you can't be sure of the fit when you're ordering from Amazon. So there are disadvantages there. How do you capitalize on those advantages? As a combination, and eventually I think we heard of the Vada Pav guys or somebody who's very iconic. I think it all revolves around that customer service and that differentiation, that this is what I'm bringing to my customers. Even one great behaving person on the cash counter makes a very big difference there. But how do you make it scalable?
I will have to now ask one last question to you, Anshuman. Is there a possibility for these companies which have grown to a certain extent, is there any possibility where EY can actually guide them and say, I'll take you through this path, and is that too expensive an option for them, or is it a right option for them? What do you think? Or is this even not attractive for EY?
No, I think that the same movement is happening in the startup environment quite a bit. It has to become a consortium-led process because, frankly, the professional fees charged by people like us will be too high for any individual to bear. So maybe,
if an SPGA or a KCF comes in...
So absolutely, there are these programs running in India in some way, but globally also. I know that in Jordan and Turkey, there are actually consortiums of startups that come together, and there is individual mentoring and handholding to the extent of growing the business. It's not only about advice, or I'm not saying softer, I'm saying hard skills, like, they're connecting people. For example, there's a business who set up some capacity in manufacturing, let's say Tetra Pak capacity. EY is working with them to find them business and customers in other markets also. So every aspect of this is absolutely possible. The only thing I would say is that one can think through it like a consortium, saying that, okay, like you are already doing, we saw to for the GAIN program, etc. As part of a larger program, there is a way that one can engage and provide almost individual help. And I'm saying not only, paper help, I'm saying
Your heart
connecting,
like gold.
connecting them to the right people, looking at sourcing networks, looking at, say, tomorrow ONDC is coming in, right? So on ONDC, how do we empanel you? Or how do I digitize your whole journey? Or, there's so many areas, so one can pick up themes and go through this journey along with your association here and see how we can, be of help.
So consortium approach would help.
Yeah, individual, obviously the fee structure and all will not
Yeah,
work for anywhere.
But a consortium is a possibility that exists.
Having said that, there are even mid-market or mid-sized retailers, 50 crores, 60 crores, who are taking our help in various areas.
Great, great. Thank you so much for bringing that. That kind of gives some space and opportunity. I'm going to go through the last round of questions, and yes, I'll come to you. You have a question? Okay, you send me the question. I will read out them. Send me the question. Correct. Like that, if anybody has questions, you just send me the question, because if 2 or 3 people have the question, then their question can come as one question to them. It can be answered, right? My question, straight away, one is education important in growing? Like, to educate yourselves, is it important? Like rapid fire, आपको yes बोलना है, no बोलना है? Totally agree. Important, important.
I am from a technical background, so I don't, it's in our blood, I feel.
Yeah.
So,
So if somebody wants to grow, do they need to educate themselves?
well, in this world, yes, they need to be well versed with what happens, but it is not 100% yes that you need to have something, you need to be educated to grow, because
No, when I'm saying educated, I'm not talking of qualification. I'm talking of you need to keep learning, growing.
oh
learning.
yes, absolutely, yes.
Like you need to do something to keep
Yes.
growing yourself. Like books, courses, attending seminars.
Anything that makes you understand something new, and how can you relate that to, so I feel education is a process where you can apply concepts to your life. So now everything's become all, you mug it up and vomit it in exams, but that's not what education is all about. It's supposed to be understanding concepts and applying them to your real life. That's what I feel is education, which is slowly coming back, I feel. But yeah, that's a different story.
For the same, I remember when I was in London, that time I'd gone to LSE for an executive MBA taster lecture. And it just as, I just wanted to see what it is, because normally what the mindset out here is finish all your education, then come back, join business, blah, blah, blah. Went there, and I had the VP of Citibank on one side, and one of the, I'm forgetting, very senior people. They must be all in their mid-50s, mid-55s. And post the lecture, it was a fantastic lecture. Eventually, it's all theoretical, what they were showing out there. But post the lecture, I went outside, and he was a Britisher, the VP of Citibank in particular, I remember. And he's like, son, what are you doing here? I said, no, I just came to find out, and because I'm just going to finish my graduation very soon. And he gave me one very interesting thought to take back home. He said that, I would really recommend you don't do this right now. The executive MBA is something where you have a hold up in your career once you finish probably 15 to 20 years of experience in the real world, and you've got questions that need to be answered. You need the networks to accelerate your growth ahead. That is when you will be going for your executive MBA. And that is what I have decided, that once my daughter is old enough to travel abroad, I will travel with her for my executive MBA, for answering some questions which might be. So I totally agree with education, and I not only, so as he said, it's not only about the theoretical education, it is going to be definitely that theory, what you're going to be using in the practical life, which is more important. So, but the theory is something which you do need to know, and it plays a vital role in crafting, getting strategies in absolutely everything. Because unlike previous years when it was more of theoretical, today there are so many case studies which we are actually practicing, and they're real life case studies, where even something like, writing essays or whatever, where you're innovating and thinking out of the box, where for you're writing an essay with no thought process of capital, etc. So it just opens your mind. So yeah.
The reason I was asking this question, Karthik and Manan, is basically KCF SVG are planning a family managed business program, which is like something being built and all. Will that be kind of help for people if something like that can be brought down to retail?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Education is a must.
Education, learning is a must. Now I'm going to complete with two parts till I get any other questions from the audience. If you like, if there are people who want to come and meet you, correct? There are people who would come and there are people at some time there were some people who had dreams which you wanted to reach, and you are going to be people somebody who's at 1,000 square outlet or a 500 square outlet is going to come and say, Hitesh bhai, please tell me, I want to get where you went. You also started from there. You also started 270. Mere ko bhi journey bata do. What is the advice you would give them? That what do they need to prepare and can they come to you for? Questions? What do they need to prepare themselves and what can come to you for?
First, I will tell them that you make sure you want to be, you have to be very confident inside only. Whether you want to come in my business or you want to understand my business, he must be very confident, he must have some knowledge. Then only I will accept him. That you can come in business. See, my slogan is what? You become successful by helping others become successful. That is my logo. I had started my sports business. I was the first, I think, in my community that I started my sports shop. I was the first. You believe it. And I helped a lot. And from my team only so many sports shops has grown. But that is, you become successful by helping others become successful.
I just wanted to ask you one question. That question was there and I'm just going to close that with you. There was a time where आपने वो wholesaler लोग से खरीदा, there were sports shops around, and फिर आपके sports shop नहीं थे, आपकी थी confectionery store थी. Today you have selection somewhere there only. What happened to those sports shops?
That sports shop was a little, because the second generation didn't come. That's why most of them closed down. Most of them closed down. Because second generation didn't come in that business. They are 100 years old company, more than 50 years bigger in that time, but second generation didn't come, so they were closed down.
Oh.
Yeah, many sports shops are closed down.
Great. Yes, your question, what is it that people can come to you for and what do you them to be prepared? Anyone? और both of you.
Come again?
मतलब अगर आप चाहते इधर अगर लोग आपके पास पहुंचते और आप उनके मेंटर बनोगे या सपोर्ट बनोगे तो व्हाट इज इट कि आप वो प्रिपेयर होकर आना चाहिए जैसा हितेंद्र भाई ने बोला हितेश भाई ने बोला कि आप अपने बिजनेस के लिए कॉन्फिडेंट हो जाओ बिलीफ रखो कि आपको आगे बढ़ना है तो मैं आपको डेफिनेट हेल्प करूंगा क्योंकि मेरे को अच्छा लगता है एंड देयर आर पीपल विल बी मेकिंग अदर सक्सेसफुल मेक्स मी सक्सेसफुल वैसा आपका व्हाट डू पीपल नीड टू प्रिपेयर एंड व्हाट इज इट दे कैन कम टू यू फॉर
आई विल बी मोर देन हैप्पी कोई भी काम के लिए आप मेरे पास आ सकते हो 4 साल पहले हमने एक एंटरप्रेन्योर प्रोग्राम चालू किया था आई गोट अराउंड 40-50 people who connect me and we have taken face-to-face interview. प्रोग्राम ऐसा था कि उनको 2 साल हमारी दुकान में हमारे साथ काम करें और तीसरे साल हम उनको दुकान करा दें पार्टनरशिप में. बट यू विल बी सरप्राइज एक भी बंदा रिटर्न नहीं आया. क्यों नहीं आया? तो उनके 3-4 सवाल बहुत अजीब थे और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट भी थे. पहला सवाल यह था कि छुट्टी कितना दिन मिलेगी, हॉलीडेज कितने रहेंगे, कितना घंटा काम करना पड़ेगा. अब एज अ ऑडियंस और एज अ फैमिली जो हमारे सामने हमारी फैमिली बैठी है मैं उनको पूछूं कि आप बिजनेस एंटरप्रेन्योर है, आप सब अपना फिर वो 300 फुट की दुकान है 3000 की है और 30,000 स्क्वायर फुट की है, कितना घंटा आपको काम करना पड़ता है. इफ यू डोंट ब्रीथ बिजनेस ईट बिजनेस ड्रिंक बिजनेस बिजनेस नहीं बढ़ सकता है. ये मेरा थॉट है. मे बी आई एम रॉन्ग एंड आई एम हैप्पी टू बी रॉन्ग. राइट. अब एक भी बंदा नहीं आया तो मैं हट नहीं गया हूं, स्टिल मैं ढूंढ रहा हूं कि अगर कोई आकर मेरे को मिले। बट कोई भी बिजनेसमैन अगर वो आकर मेरे से बात करे तो मैं उसको कुछ ना कुछ रास्ता दिखा सकता हूं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आज के तारीख के अंदर 300, 400, 500 स्क्वायर फुट कपड़े की दुकान की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है। बट अगर कम्युनिटी में अगर आप 2-3 जन को पहचानते हो और 3 जन मिलाकर आप 3000 स्क्वायर फुट की दुकान कर सकते हो तो वो पॉसिबल है। तो सवाल, मैं एक जन को मिला और उससे सवाल ये किया कि यार तो फिर मेरी दुकान का क्या करूं? मैं बोला तू रेंट पे दे दे 3000 फुट, 3 जन मिला के रेंट पे ले लो और गाड़ी आगे बढ़ाओ। व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम? बट वो कैसा होगा, कैसे चलेगा, पार्टनरशिप कैसे करेंगे? मैं बोला देखो भैया, अभी मैं आपको चम्मच से खाना खिला सकता हूं, मैं आपको बनाकर तो नहीं दे सकता हूं। अब वो तो आपको सोचना पड़ेगा। मतलब, और कोई आप अगर कोई आते हैं तो डेफिनेटली आई एम देयर टू डिस्कस इन डिटेल और उसके अंदर से कुछ ना कुछ रास्ता मिलेगा। मेरी और एक रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी कि जैसे ये केवीए है और हमारा ये एसजीवीए है, उनको ये जो लाइक माइंडेड बच्चे हैं जो काम करना चाहते हैं उनको जमा करना चाहिए। और जैसे इंडस्ट्री के टॉप एक्सपर्ट्स हैं जो इनको इतना लाइन का बड़ा अनुभव है, उनके साथ बिठाना चाहिए। मैं डेफिनेटली बोलता हूं कि आज नहीं होगा, कल नहीं तो परसों 100% उसके अंदर से कुछ ना कुछ फ्रूटफुल मिलेगा। बट रोके रहने से कुछ होने वाला नहीं है। कितने लोगों ने पत्ता खेला है, प्लेइंग कार्ड? सॉरी, आई एम टेकिंग यू 1 more minute। 30 सेकेंड्स। कितने लोगों ने प्लेइंग कार्ड खेला है? वेरी गुड। हाँ, तो अगर 13 पत्ते की अगर मेरे को गेम आई, 4 जन पत्ता खेल रहे हैं और 13 के 13 अगर मेरे पास हुक्म के कार्ड आ गए तो वो पत्ते में क्या मजा है? कोई पिक्चर देखते हैं और वो पिक्चर के अंदर विलन नहीं है तो क्या मजा है? वैसा धंधा है और धंधा के अंदर अगर कोई तकलीफ नहीं है, कंपटीशन नहीं है तो क्या मजा है? वो धंधा धंधा ही नहीं है। वो धंधे के अंदर अगर तकलीफ नहीं आई तो आप ग्रो नहीं होएंगे।
I think this deserves a clap, a loud clap.
नहीं,
Like if there's
it's
no
okay.
problem, what's the whole fun
No,
of it?
मतलब आपको ज्यादा सोचने की जरूरत नहीं, यू कूदो। और साहब मैं अभी भी बोलता हूं आपको,
Let me by, I'll have to stop 30 seconds.
नहीं 1 minute, you have to give me 1 minute because 2 important things are left। कर्म करो, फल की आशा मत रखो।
समय का भी व्यापारी है।
हाँ, क्या करेंगे भाई, करना पड़ेगा। सी, मेरी कम्युनिटी बैठी है यहाँ पर, मेरी फैमिली है यहाँ, तो मेरे को कुछ, आपने जब बुलाया है तो कुछ तो ज्ञान देना पड़ेगा। तो मैं ये बोलता हूं कर्म करो, फल की आशा मत रखो। फल इज 100% श्योर। अच्छा करोगे अच्छा फल मिलेगा, बुरा करोगे बुरा फल मिलेगा, फल तो मिलेगा। लास्ट बट नॉट लीस्ट, बहुत से लोग अपने ही दुखों के गीत गाते, दिवाली हो या होली सदाई मातम मनाते, पर दुनिया तो उसकी रागिनी पर झूमती जो जलती चिता पर बैठ के वीणा बजाते। थैंक यू विक्टर जी।
Manan, last anything, any recommendations, anything you want to say? Any books that you, one of your favorite books was Supermarket Wala. Would you recommend that?
Yeah,
to-
absolutely. I mean, it's probably the best book for the most basic entry-level book for retailers that we can go for. It's not just for grocery market, but the concepts, like I said, you can apply to any business. And secondly, it's not just to approach me, but if you're vigilant enough in life, if you're receptive enough, if you are willing to change with an open mindset, I don't think, you will yourself be able to answer your own problems.
Great, great. Thank you, Manan. I'm just going to take out one question out there. I think this is to society stores. Neelam will be glad. So, who's this question? If you can ask the question directly, somebody can give the mic. I think Neelam has a question. Neelam Enterprises. Or, yeah.
My support, Neelam would be glad to support you in your vision for 100 stores.
Oh, that. So Vishal Bhai is saying that he is 100 stores. आपने vision इधर निर्माण किया नागेश जी, और now तो you got full support. You are ready to give now 100 stores vision. Already you have a partner out there, and I think Vishal is quite well known to you also, right? Clear. So thank you very much for that question. I think what I'm going to summarize today's panel discussion, I think it went across many spaces about how a typical journey goes. A journey is going to have problems, is going to have fun. There's a question unanswered. Why don't you ask it?
Hello.
This was regarding price. You want to ask that question? Ask quickly.
To Society Store and Bhattacharya Store. So after hearing all the conversation, Good afternoon, everyone. I am from the same industry like Society Store. I have a supermarket. So what basically we all are into 300, 500 square feet, all small retailers. So what we have is 30 new products coming every day. 30 to 50 products coming every day. आज ये brand है sir, ले लो ले लो ले लो. That is already happening. अपना space 300 है. 300 से 3000 तो होने नहीं वाला है. Collaborate करेंगे तो शायद हो जाएगा. How do we tackle that? You said कि पिज़्ज़ा का रोटी के साथ I have to keep capsicum, cheese, everything. But मेरा space उतने का उतना है. This is growing. This is first question. How do we tackle that? Second is that DMart and all that are coming. Now my all family and friends are here. मैं कभी उनको बोल ही नहीं सकता कि आप मेरे दुकान पे आके बाय करो, क्योंकि मैं खुद जब डीमार्ट और वो लोग जो प्राइस सेट करते हैं वो लोग को भी पता है कि कैशबैक है, ये है, वो है. मेरे को परचेजिंग कॉस्ट ही वो नहीं पड़ता है. तो मैं कैसे जाके किसी से बोलूँ कि भाई यू कम एंड बाय फ्रॉम योर, बिकॉज मैं अपना लॉस करके तो तोड़ के नहीं बेच सकता हूँ. मे बी दे बिग ब्रांड्स आर देयर, दे आर प्रॉब्ली सेलिंग इन लॉस एंड दे आर सेलिंग कि वो लोग व्हाटएवर प्राइस. दैट इज सेकंड. एंड थर्ड
क्वेश्चन, आप क्वेश्चंस करो. डोंट गिव मी योर स्पीच ऑफ योर लाइफ स्टोरी.
no, this is not
Give me
my
two
life.
questions.
This is generally what retailers.
Okay, I got your problem. I got your problem. Correct. Wait a minute. I'll answer this question. See, what's your good name?
Deep. Sorry, Deep.
What's it? Deep. Deep. This question has been answered repeatedly over the last 2.5 hours. This question has been addressed. What you're asking has typically been addressed. Nagesh ji said, you may not be able to match price, but what you can know your customer, know what is your customer, the 150 customers, who they are, know them fully well, what they want, you may have to give them, understand that pretty well. The experience that they will give you, that is unmatched. There is always some experience that you can provide if you know your customer very well, which nobody else can provide. The Amazons of this world cannot provide, DMarts of this world cannot provide, the Reliances of this world cannot provide, the Marks and Spencer of this world cannot provide, the JC Penney. तो आपको डरने का जरूरत नहीं. And by the way, with your 300 square feet, don't worry about DMart. That 150 customers you worry na. That 150 will become 120, 120 will become 100, 100 will become 80. No, that 150 which is buying 1000 rupees from you every month, let them start buying 1500, 1200. वो किचन में उसको मालूम है कि ये बटर कम हो गया. That is the system what Nagesh ji was telling you some time ago. How much do you know your customer? And second, ये 300 स्क्वायर फीट कभी 3000 नहीं हो सकते. ऐसा अगर इनके पिताजी ने सोचा होता तो सोसाइटी नहीं बनता था. और अगर इन्होंने, इनका तो 300 स्क्वायर फीट था भी नहीं, बागड़ा पे 4 बॉल बेचते थे. So the question is not whether you have 300 square feet, 3000 नहीं होगा. 3000 बनाना है तुमको.
Yes.
बनाने का रास्ता ढूंढो. बनाने का रास्ता. दिल्ली जाने के लिए ट्रेन पकड़ो पहला बॉम्बे सेंट्रल पे, और दिल्ली के ट्रेन में बैठो. आप बोरीवली में बैठ के ये मत पूछो कि दिल्ली जाने के लिए 4 रास्ता बताओ, सबसे इकोनॉमिकल रास्ते में मैं अपना टिकट निकालेगा. दिल्ली का एजुकेशन नहीं चला, बैठ जाओ ना, दिल्ली पहुंचो. दिल्ली में कुछ नहीं हुआ, वापस बॉम्बे आ जाओ. बट एटलीस्ट बॉम्बे से दिल्ली जाने का ट्रेन तो मालूम पड़ा ना. अब बैठ के मत पूछो मेरा 300 स्क्वायर फीट है, 3000 नहीं बनेगा. नहीं बनेगा तो छोड़ दो ना यार, बेच के निकल जाओ. 3000 को 300 को 3000 बनाने का रास्ता इन लोग दिखाएंगे. बड़ा भलो कि आपने कैसा बनाया, मेरे को भी बनाने के 3000. 3000 का 30,000 बनाओ, 30,000 का 3 लाख बनाओ, इंडिया से अमेरिका में बनाओ. लेकिन आपको 300 का रोना है कि 300 का खुशी है?
Sir, I agree
एक
to.
मिनट, मेरे को खाली 2 जवाब दो. आपको 300 का रोना है, 300 का खुशी है?
Sir, 300 का खुशी भी है और 3000 भी बनाना है.
नहीं नहीं, एक मिनट. अगर खुशी है तो खुशियां मनाओ. कि आपके पास 300 स्क्वायर फीट का दुकान है. कोई लोगों के पास दुकान बनाने का जिंदगी निकल रहा है.
I just want to
Victor ji,
say one word because 300 square feet पे दुखी नहीं होना है.
विक्टर जी, अंशुमन जी, 1 मिनट ले सकता हूं मैं?
मैं ले रहा हूँ 1 मिनट आपका.
हाँ प्लीज प्लीज.
मैं सिंस पिज़्ज़ा की बात हो रही थी, तो मेरा इनके लिए सजेशन ये होगा कि आप पिज़्ज़ा का टॉपिंग्स बेचते हैं, पर आपके पास 5 ही टॉपिंग होगा या 10 टॉपिंग होगा या 50 टॉपिंग होगा. आप मुंबई का सबसे ज्यादा टॉपिंग्स का 300 स्क्वायर फीट का दुकान खोल दो.
You will do wonder.
पिज़्ज़ा सोसाइटी जनरल स्टोर से खरीदो, पर टॉपिंग के लिए मेरे पास आओ. I mean, there are lots and lots of niches available. Okay, it's amazing availability. So I don't think निराशा होने की जरूरत है. There's no need at all on that.
नागेश जी, एक थॉट देना चाहूँगा। दीप, आपकी दुकान कौन से एरिया में है? एक कौन से एरिया में?
नेपेंसी रोड।
नेपेंसी रोड पे। जी, मैं आपको एक चीज़ बताऊं, आप आपका कस्टमर ढूंढो कि मेरे कस्टमर क्या है। लाइक ACC, सोशल इकोनॉमी क्लास, बॉम्बे के अंदर इट इज 27%। मतलब जो 27% है वो डीमार्ट का गिराक नहीं है। वो प्रीमियम दुकान चाहिए, प्रीमियम क्वालिटी चाहिए, प्रीमियम सर्विस चाहिए। आप इतना ही करो, इनफ है। 300 फुट भी दुकान इनफ है। और दूसरा, रोज 30 आइटम नवी आने की बात है, तो हम जब खाना खाते हैं तो सवेरे उतना बाहर निकलता है, तो जो नवी आइटम आ रही है, जूनी आइटम को आप डिस्कार्ड करो, तो ही आगे बढ़ोगे, नहीं तो नहीं बढ़ोगे। थैंक यू विक्रम जी।
I just wanted to respond. I think it's only fair he put the questions to us. So,
Sir, also you will need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
continuation. The question was
Yeah.
that you mentioned that in the future that people are collaborating.
Yeah.
Even we had Jio and other brands coming in.
Right.
They wanted to tie up with us, like how Zomato is doing with the restaurants.
Right.
So my store, we didn't agree to that because the minute I give them the database, I let the delivery happen through them. They are getting my database, they are getting my customers, they are coming to know what my customers are buying. So I'm not collaborating. But what do you suggest, that is this the right approach or this is
yeah.
the wrong
So
approach?
I think I would take this question very objectively. I fundamentally believe that, I don't want to address it through things like mindset and all of that. You have what you have is your reality, which is 300 square feet, and you have a reality that DMart is selling things cheaper, and there are all these things. So I think what's in your, there is an ambition and all of that, but the reality is that you have to go back to that store and sell better. I would take it as that it's in the product portfolio and merchandise that you'll have to look at. What we have seen, it's not easy, but what we have seen is, I was taking the name of this, Hyderabad retailer earlier, and if you see the kind of margin that they make in their products, they will keep, for example, all South Indian snacks in Hyderabad, which nobody else has, right? You will have Trupti and all these guys, in Bombay also. So create a portfolio which is very high margin and what is not available very easily elsewhere. I think that the thing about big stores is always that they believe in, very repeatable things, dealing with big brands and all of that. So I think business has to become a little more, if I can use the word, artisanal, right? How can you make it specialty? So there are two plays that are available to a retailer store. Either you go very deep on convenience or you become specialty, right? If you're trying to sell the same things, it's not going to work. So eventually, if your space allocation today is, let's say, 80% is FMCG brands and 20% is specialty, you move towards 30, 40, 50% of specialty and 50% FMCG kind of product gradually. That is one thing. And the second is you work on the convenience aspect, which is improve your service, home delivery, good polite behavior, phone numbers, ask, all of that stuff. You can WhatsApp-based order taking, sending, GPay, a lot of things. So play on convenience, specialty, either one, both, whichever way. But if you play the same game as the others are playing, then the likelihood that you will win is obviously lesser.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can address that personally because now I have to complete. We have already crossed time. Each of you, the panelists are there for some time. You can talk to them directly. You can kind of address this. But I'll summarize the panel discussion to say that I think there is a lot of scope for the retail market. It is not a downward trend. It is an upward trend. The decade, as we said, is India's decade. Possibility exists. We will need to change our mindset. We will need to collaborate. We will need to co-create with each other, maybe come to more specializations about our retail, but the retail business is definitely in the future. There is nothing to nirash hone ki koi zarurat nahi hai. There is opportunities, there is mentors here, and I think an interesting point that came is we can have high-end consulting and high-end knowledge come in as a consortium if we can come, if SVGA and KCF can come together, engage with ENY and come as a consortium, then really the latest knowledge, technology, business models will be available to the people out here. That's a great possibility. I think, thank you very much, Karthik, for being here. Thank you very much, Hitesh Bhai, for being here. Lakshmichand Bhai, it was amazing having your passion here and listening to your journey. Thank you, Manan, for bringing your thoughts here. And Anshuman, amazing to bring the line that you brought in from livelihood businesses to enterprise businesses, and that's the journey that you bring in. And thank you for also making the offer for the consortium. So with these things, I would like to complete this evening and give them a big hand. Give them a big hand.
Thank you, everyone, for a wonderful Q&A session, throwing a lot of insight, giving a lot of insights on managing the business, facing competition. So I would like to invite Mr. Hasmukh to please felicitate Manan and Lakshmi Chand Bhai. May I now invite Mr. Girish Shah to felicitate Hitesh Bhai and Karthik. May I now invite Mr. Kirit Gala to felicitate Mr. Anshuman and Mr. Victor. So with this, we would kind of like to wind up the session for the day. We had a good discussion. We had a very good discussion on retail, future of retail. To kind of summarize, is that both the generations can work together if the younger generation is kind of introduced early in the business, ideally say around 10 to 12 years. And we need to have a better infrastructure around large corporates, and large corporates are able to provide better infrastructure in the malls, a better convenience. So if we are able to provide that, that will be really helpful. And collaboration and cooperation is the mantra that we need to follow way forward. So with that, I would like to thank all the people who were part of the supporting team, to start with Vivek Thakkar from Boomerang Consulting, Mrs. Angel for the valet services, King George Auditorium for this excellent facility, Jyotir Caterers for the snacks early in the morning, KCF and SVGA team for putting this all together along with the staff of both the teams. And last but not the least, Mr. Victor for having a wonderful Q&A session. He is a BE chemical engineer and masters in management. He has been an associate dean for entrepreneurship and FMB program. He has been head of healthcare management program, has been a visiting faculty for more than 19 years, has written various research papers, and is currently the founder of Victor Minakkam Group, operating across India, Dubai, USA, and Europe. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Before leaving, please fill up the feedback forms and please give it to the volunteers out there.